Hello, lovely folks. David here. Welcome to episode 18 of my Noob Let's Play series, where you get to watch me stumble around as I learn about the Minecraft game mechanics that I didn't learn the first time around, because I spent the last decade mostly playing in creative mode. So, last episode, we took on an ocean monument. And it turns out when you have netherite armor, water breathing potions, and know the secret of TNT in the water, an ocean monument isn't too hard. Shock. Now, I'm working on some plans to use this monument for something in the future. So, off camera, I connected it to the Nether. So I didn't have to walk the overworld for 25 minutes just to get home. And so I can get back fairly quickly when I figure out what I want to do. But as I make my way home again, I've kind of noticed something. While I have pathways in the Nether, which does make travel from one location to another shorter than the overworld, it is still just as, if not more, dangerous. So, what we probably need to do is to make a Nether transport network, which is actually good, because after all the combat last time, I actually kind of need a build break anyway. Now, in creative, my first step would be to figure out what shapes I want and figure out parts of an unlimited colour palette that I want to use. But in survival, I'm going to have to look at the palette I can make from what blocks I have in abundance, and then figure out what I can do with what I have. In creative, I love to do large-scale builds, often with a domed network hub and an ice road for faster travel. But however much I'd love to recreate the many lovely hubs I've made over the years, I'm playing in survival, so the design and scale have to be a little downgraded. After all, any block I want to use that I already don't have, I'm going to have to go out and get manually, because I'm not playing on a server where I might be able to buy the blocks I need from others. And I've only got about 10 to 15 hours a week free for filming and editing. So, the blocks that I have the most of, by a long shot, is deep slate. So there's lots of options with deep slate, lots of different patterns and slight shade differences. So it's a good palette to start with as a base. The next most blocks I have are probably iron and copper. There's quite a few block variants with copper, but not much for iron, so maybe trim, I don't know. I'll also need to engage in spawn suppression, so things aren't absolutely filled with hoglins and piglins and, giant balls of gas that scream and blow fire at you. And the easiest version of spawn suppression in the Nether is probably using bottom slabs. Mostly because in the Nether, mob spawning doesn't depend on light levels. And, carpet's kind of flammable. For safety, I want to put the whole network up close to the top bedrock. But this means I also have to move portals and plan where hallways connecting them all will be. So for this project, I'll be doing the calculation in a creative copy of this game first. Then we shall dig a lot. It's about 3 or 4 kilometers worth of tunnels will eventually need to be dug. So, wish me luck, and cue the music. And welcome back, lovely folks. Phew, that was so much work. And just cutting out the main hallways, putting in the floors, and moving the portals has used up most of the time I have for work this fortnight. I didn't even get to digging the hallway to the mangrove portal, which is like 5,000 blocks from spawn in the overworld. Oh well. And before anyone asks, I made the hallways deliberately really wide for a reason. So we can have a go at different kinds of non-foot transportation at a later date. Perhaps, maybe even trying my arch nemesis, redstone. So, in creative, I would have made this much fancier, with more textured areas and a fully functioning non-foot transport system, probably an ice and boat highway because they're not too hard to do and they go fast. I like going fast. But in survival, I'm still learning how to build. It's actually quite different, and all the gathering and processing of materials takes so much time. Oh my goodness. I didn't realise how much it was. But I'm not going to focus on the what-ifs. For the next stage, we have to prioritise functionality and block availability. So I've got a lot of copper, but not enough to do entire walls. So I thought maybe we could have it as an accent, make the skirting boards, as in, the bottom block for the walls to be copper. Also, we have so much deep slate, even after making all the floor slabs out of it. But I think it would be too much black and grey to cover the walls in it as well. However much I actually love the Gothic aesthetic. So I figured we could put it at the top of the walls in like a straight band to smooth out the uneven lines of the bedrock, but also to sort of thematically connect the top part to the floor pattern, maybe? As for the middle section of the walls, we don't really have a lot of any other block, and even iron. There isn't enough to do the walls in that, even though that would make it look like a spaceship. But over time, we could make as much nether brick as one might want, but that's a very dark palette as well. And I don't have days upon days to do that sort of processing. However, we definitely need something different in the walls. And not just because I remember the time when netherrack looked much more fleshy than it does these days. So I just genuinely dislike the look of it too much to keep it as walls. But we also need to change things up a bit because I keep getting lost. The walls are too samey for my fibrofog brain. And I keep going around in circles. I really should have made the spawn portal the literal hub instead of just an offshoot of the hallways. Oh well. So I thought maybe I could just play with patterns and blocks for the walls. The diagonal lines you're seeing are pretty much all of each of these blocks that I have, though some, like the red wart, can be generated over long periods of time without need for extra digging, unlike others, like the lapis, which needs a lot of grinding to find any decent amount. I do intend to make the length of the path to the mangroves, the one that's nearly a kilometre in the nether, into repeated rainbows, because I like rainbows. Rainbows rock. But any more additions to a wall in this network, are probably going to have to be the Minecraft equivalent of doodling, because I can't keep it a consistent amount without grinding way too much just to get one kind of block repeatedly. So, I've done 2 sections of wall with 2 very simple colour palettes and patterns, but we may have to do more sections over a long period of time because it's a lot of building and a lot of digging. There are also 2 more portals that need to have walkways to them and for the portals to be shifted up. So this will be a long-term project that may or may not ever actually be completely done. I think perhaps I was a tiny bit too cocky to think we could do this all in one episode. Oh well, that's cool. Talking of episodes, if you have any ideas for what to do next, please let me know down in the comments. I may not do it next time, but if it's doable at my current skill level, I shall do it soon enough. For now, I'm thinking that the next episode we might look at clearing that woodland mansion we found on the way to the ocean monument. If I'm quite honest, I've never done a mansion in survival. Never really actually been in one. And I'm not sure if I have the mobility in my left hand to pull it off. It's a lot of combat. Consequently, I'm kind of nervous. But if we never do anything that frightens us, we end up doing nothing much of anything. So I'll be planning strategies over the next day or so, just to help make the process less like an infinite death loop. However entertaining a death loop can be to watch. You know, Scar is a perfect example of that. It's not terribly productive if I have to spend the next few episodes getting back all of my stuff. Anyway, I hope the next 2 weeks are nice for you, wherever you are in the world. Aranitasa.